Welcome to ABC 7 Extra Sunday. Good evening, everyone. I'm Mark Ross. With Election Day coming up on Tuesday, the integrity of the process is being closely watched, especially the presidential election. Tonight, we'll look at election integrity from the local level in El Paso and Doña Ana counties and the steps the state of New Mexico is taking to ensure the process is fair and valid. Now, we're going to begin with El Paso County Elections Administrator Lisa Wise and Doña Ana County Clerk Amanda Lopez-Askin. Now, as we tape this show, it is Friday, November 1st. It's the last day of early voting in El Paso County. So Lisa is joining us via Zoom. And ladies, we thank both of you for coming on ABC 7 Extra. Lisa, we've seen long lines for early voting at polling places across the county, but the early voting numbers don't necessarily reflect it. So why do you think the early voting figures for 2024 are lower than they were for 2020?
First of all, thank you for having me, Mark. A couple different reasons. The biggest dip we've seen in our early voting number is the by mail. So we saw about 36,000 ballots by mail in 2020 during the pandemic. And we've seen about 14,000 this election. So that's a huge dip. And we expected that we would be seeing a loss in the by mail ballots. And that's because, again, with the pandemic, so many people were voting from home. But we're still seeing our in-person voting, with the lines and the waits and the turnout that we were seeing close to 2020.
Now, Amanda, as we tape this, you still have early voting for Friday and on Saturday.
Correct.
As of right now, how do the early voting numbers in Doña Ana County reflect compared to 2020?
So we are ahead of 2020. We have had really robust turnout. Every site that I've gone to has had lines. They move very quickly. As a clerk, lines make you nervous because you don't want people to wait. You want them to, to get in as quickly as possible. But lines are also very exciting because it means people are engaged. They want to be there. And voting early is ideal. That means you can avoid those longer lines that are inevitable on election day. But we're looking at well over 40,000 voters in Doña Ana County, and that is ahead of where we were in 2020.
Has your office had to remove any voters, any non-citizens from the voting rolls?
So that's always an interesting question because I think there's this narrative somehow that there's undocumented individuals who are just waiting to vote and committed fourth-degree felony, and that is just not true. We have had voters or individuals who have registered to vote mistakenly and been removed from our voter rolls that way. But there is no systemic undocumented individuals on our voter rolls. Mainly, we also follow a federal process of removing voters. We check our obituaries every day. Any way that we can check vital statistics to remove voters who have died, we do. So there's a lot of ways that we do it, and ultimately we appreciate the family of a deceased person calling us and letting us know. We also participate in ERIC, which is a national electronic registration program that many states participate in. So if you move to a certain state, let's say Connecticut, and you register there, it alerts us, and then we review as well. So there's many ways that we have those checks and balances within the voter roll.
Lisa, same question for you. Have El Paso County had to remove any non-citizens from the voter rolls?
So it's, I don't want to just say ditto, but it's very similar to what the clerk mentioned is that, we do daily maintenance on our rolls, just like every other county does. And so basically what we've seen is there may be someone who marked, I want to register to vote when they went and got their driver's license. But the state matches those registrations with in databases from the Social Security Administration, things like that. So we have not seen, large numbers again of this these non-citizens needing to be removed from the rolls.
All right, Lisa, let's talk about how your office is working to ensure this election is fair and honest. What steps are you taking to battle the misinformation about voting that's out there?
Sure. So, this process starts months and months and frankly, even years ahead of elections, which is the certification of the system, which is done at both the state and federal level. Some states don't require federal certification. Texas does. Now with the audit trail, with the paper audit trail that all of our systems have, everyone has a paper ballot. We do several logic and accuracy testing ahead of the election with our members of both parties. They participate in that. And then following the election, we also do what's called a partial manual recount. So we actually get these precincts from the state that we don't know ahead of time, and we do a hand count to match what the tabulation is in those precincts and things like that. And they must match. So there's steps that start from the certification of the system to the testing of the system, to several tests of the system, and then to even post-election where we do our audit and our manual recount.
Amanda, same question for you. Pretty much the same thing that Lisa's doing?
Right, and I think each state runs their elections individually. I'm an elected official in Doñana County. I don't think Lisa is, I'm not sure. No. It kind of depends in different states. But what I will tell you is we all have best practices. So when Lisa's answering this question, I'm saying yes, check, yes, check. Now, we always want paper ballots. To me, that's the gold standard. That means we'll always be able to recreate one single race or an entire election, right? And so that is one of the ways, many ways, that New Mexico secures the vote and makes sure that we have a continual accurate count. We do have the public certification of our machines. We do have a post-election audit. We do have randomized audits that, again, select precincts at random. We don't know which ones they're going to be. And we literally make sure that every single one of those votes are correct. So there's a lot of checks and balances that are in place, obviously New Mexico and in Texas as well. Best practices are standardized, I think, across the country. But what I will also say is what you find is individuals like me, born and raised in Doñana County, Lisa, who's committed to her community, this is across the country. We are all committed to great elections for our community and literally work tirelessly every day to make sure that that happens.
We'll have more of our conversation on election integrity coming up after the break. Stay with us. You're watching ABC 7 Extra Sunday.